are finally here.
Finally.
Okay? After, 3 years planning.
3 years, yeah.
We started planning this BVI bareboat charter with our friends Ben and Maria back in 2019 after we got back from our Leeward Islands cruise.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we were the very first group with the Moorings to get canceled because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yes.
And we didn't know what, we were watching it. We didn't know what was going to happen. So we rescheduled it for September or October of 2020.
Of 2020.
2020.
Back when everybody thought this was only going to be like a 3 or 6 month ordeal.
Yeah, because we were departing in April, and it was March, I think 26th that they cut everybody off.
Yep.
So then when October came around, we were still on lockdown. So we said, okay, let's move it to February. We moved it to February of 2021.
Right.
Only to find out that they were taking the reservations, but you had to quarantine for 8 days.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
You had to take 4 tests. So we just said, you know what, bag it. We'll keep our airline ticket. We went to the USVIs and toured that video link down below. And we moved this entire trip to this year. And we leave in 5 days. And it's still been a journey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the regulations are constantly changing. I mean, the portal for the USV, because we're flying in through St. Thomas. Our friends are going from Puerto Rico directly to the BVI. We're going through USVI to BVI. And the regulations have been changing constantly, from having to have a test 5 days out, then to 3 days out. Luckily, it's now 5 days out.
They changed it back to 3 or 5 just a few days ago.
And who knows, by the time we actually come home, they may even drop the testing requirements completely. Who knows, right?
We've been, this is our very first time to do this, and there is another YouTube channel, The Wandering Hillbilly. Thank you, Alan, for a lot of your tips. And what we kind of want to do with this whole episode segment that we're going to be doing is, we don't want to bring you along necessarily as our home video, but we do want to share with, if it wasn't for Alan, we wouldn't have had a lot of resources on what the process is, and we still have some questions. And so we're going to kind of take you along with that. How we did our provisioning, we did that all online. We chose to go through Moorings.
Right.
And part of that reason is if we'd gone with some of the other companies they recommend, you couldn't get your stuff on the boat the night we're doing a sleepover again, just like we did before. So you'd have to wait till the next day. Well, that defeats the purpose of a sleepover.
Right.
So we'll show you how we did that all online. It was very easy. We've never provisioned before, so we kind of picked what we think we need, but we don't plan on cooking on the boat.
Right.
So we think we could go out to dinner everywhere.
We're hoping. Otherwise, we're going to be eating a lot of chips for dinner.
So we'll tell you how that goes and works for us. We have to take a ferry to get to Tortola. We could have taken a water taxi, but that ended up being very expensive.
Very expensive, yes.
You do need to be aware there's only a few ferries running to Tortola, so really watch your schedule. Unfortunately for us, our flight in got really, really delayed, so now we had to find a hotel to stay at in St. Thomas.
Yeah, the big thing is we could have taken a ferry, but we would have been cutting it close with customs closing, so we just decided it's better to fly in, stay the night, relax in St. Thomas, get up, catch the 9 o'clock ferry the next morning, get to Tortola by 10 o'clock, do the customs, drop our bags off at Moorings, and I guess play around for the day.
Yep. Till we board.
Yep.
So we're excited about that. So now in the next 5 days before we leave, we have a few things we have to do. We have to take a test to get into the USVI, which we will do tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And we are doing, I get so confused that I had to do a schedule, but we're doing a home kit for that.
We're doing a home test for that.
Which is proctored.
Okay. We are assuming that will get us through the portal, because we have to do a proctored home test, to come back into the USVIs
while we're on the boat.
When we're on the boat from the BVI. So we're assuming that if it's good enough to come from the BVI to USVIs, we're assuming it's good enough to go from the US to the USVIs. If not, it gives us enough time to get to a lab as well in order to fulfill that on the portal.
Correct.
And then
we have to test to get into the BVI. So what we're going to do there, and you have to do that within 48 hours of arrival.
Well, that's the confusing part, right? You have to have it done within 5 days of arrival. However, if you have it done within 48 hours of arrival, then you don't have to take another test when you arrive at the BVI. So they will take that 48-hour test, and if it's negative, which of course is going to be negative, then you're allowed to come into the BVI without taking another test at customs. Whereas if you have a negative test within 5 days when you get to the BVI, you still have to take that test when you do arrive at the BVI. So it's very confusing. But anyway, we end up having to take 2 tests, one for the USVI, one for the BVI, to get into.
And that we're going to go to a lab for. That's a 1
that
hour
one we're
lab.
going to the lab for. They don't recognize the home tests in the BVI. So whether it's proctored or not proctored, it's not a acceptable test. They want you to go to a lab for the test.
So hopefully the lab is approved. It's about $65 a person. Worst case scenario, what happens is when you get into the BVI at customs, they also have a testing site there. It's $50 a person.
Right.
So if we have to retest, the other thing we haven't really mentioned is, as you know, I just came off of working a boat show 9 days straight and really 13 days straight. And so I have been working from home. Scott always has, but we've been quarantining for this entire length because it didn't want to take any chances of being positive. Right. So this is definitely, we're not there yet. And until we actually get on that boat, I'm not saying a word.
This better be worth it. I think it will be. Everybody who's ever gone to the BVI say it's the best trip that they've ever taken. So I know the bar is set high, but we anticipate it reaching that bar and above, regardless of all this.
So stay tuned, come along, and we will share with you our journey.
So if you like this video,
give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Leave your comments down below, and be sure to subscribe. We have some pretty exciting news, and we'll share that with you after our trip. Come along, and we're excited.
And remember to ring the notification bell so you know the next time the videos drop.
Thanks, everyone.
See you soon.